All right. I'm going to ask you a few questions, Jim, about your military and that sort of thing. And when we fill up these tapes, they end up on the shelf down at the Portsmouth Public Library. Anybody can go in and look at them. Your greats.
Yeah, that'd be
That
nice.
sort of thing.
It's really,
So-
when Gene was telling about it, it's a great program.
It is. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. What's your name?
James R. Sadler.
What's your middle name?
Richard. Saddler.
When were you born?
March 23rd, 1934.
1934?
34, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, Jim, because some of your descendants might be watching this 100 years from now, I try to put in a little genealogical line here. So tell me your parents' names.
Noble and Gypsy Sadler.
That's your mother and father. Now, your father's name was Noble. What were his parents' names?
Alex and Dora Sadler.
Okay, and what was Dora's maiden name?
Tapman.
Tatman. T-A-T?
T-A-T-M-A-N.
Okay. Now, your mother's name was Gypsy.
Lyons, L-Y-O-N. Lion.
Okay. And what were her parents' names?
William and Virgie.
Lyons.
Lyons,
And what was Virgie's maiden name?
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Now, do you have any children
Yes, I do.
and their names?
Amy Jo, my oldest daughter, and James Richard II, Richie, I call him.
Okay. And you have two children?
Yes.
Now, do they have children?
No, sir, they do not.
Okay. Now, what is your present address?
I live at 1818 Maybert Road,
In Portsmouth, Ohio.
Portsmouth, Ohio. Yes,
And how much education do you have?
16 years.
Okay. So did you graduate from college then?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ohio University.
You have a bachelor's in what?
Bachelor's in education.
And what is your occupation, or are you retired, or what?
I retired from the Portsmouth Fire Department as the fire chief in 1980, and then went to work for Southern Hills Hospital for a couple of years. Then an opening came about with the Ohio Fire Marshal's office, so I went to work for the Ohio Fire Marshal in May of 1983, and I am still presently employed as a fire safety inspector.
Now, you're married?
Yes, I am.
What is your wife's name?
Jane Ann.
Jane Ann.
Yes.
Okay. What was her maiden name?
Hugh.
Hugh or Hughes?
H-E-W.
H-E-W.
Yes.
Hugh. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, you were in the service, were you in the Army or Navy or?
In the Navy.
Okay. Did you join? Were you drafted? What?
Well, no, I joined and enlisted in the Navy, probably right before I was going to be drafted anyway.
Okay. Okay.
The draft took care of the Navy.
That kind of motivated you a little
Right.
bit. And
Sure
when
was.
did you join?
In 1953,
And do you remember the date?
August 1st, I think it was, August 2nd, I'm sorry,
How long were you in the Navy?
4 years,
Okay. And where did you do your basic training?
Bainbridge, Maryland.
When you were discharged from the Navy, what was your rank?
Aviation Structural Mechanic, second class, petty
Okay.
officer.
Okay. And did you have, after your initial basic training, did you go anywhere else for additional training?
Yes, went to, we left Bainbridge, Maryland, went down to Norman, Oklahoma, to what was referred to as Aviation Preparatory School. Excuse me. Aviation Preparatory School.
Okay.
And then when we got out of the preparatory school at Norman, Oklahoma, went to Memphis, Tennessee for 16 weeks as aviation instructor mechanic school.
Okay.
I was there 16 weeks and graduated, and they kept me on for 90 days of mess cooking after that. And once we got over the mess cooking at Memphis, Tennessee, I went to Quonset Point, Rhode Island, and was there for about 2 weeks and was transferred down to a Naval Auxiliary landing field in Charlestown, Rhode Island, where I was on a crash and rescue team there.
Okay. Charlestown,
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Okay. Crash and rescue. What did you do on that team?
Well, the Charlestown, the Naval Auxiliary landing field, was laid out for the pilots from over Quonset Point, or really anywhere that wanted to come up by there. We had pictures of the aircraft carriers drawn on the highway. They would come down and practice FCLPs, field carrier landing practices, and the pilots had to accumulate so many of these qualifying landings on the airstrip before they could go to sea on board the aircraft carrier.
Let's see.
Excuse me.
Now, did you go overseas anytime?
Yes, it did.
Where did
It was
you
over
go?
in the Mediterranean, up in the North Atlantic, and down in the southern part of the Suez Canal area, down in there.
Let's see. Was that during the times of tension, and they said there was some?
There's a problem with the Suez Canal always, you know what I mean, but basically, it was just the Cold War type situation.
You were on board ship then?
Yes, on
What was the
aircraft.
name? What was the name of your ship?
USS Intrepid, it was
Intrepid.
Intrepid, CVA-11.
Where does the Harry S. Truman come in?
Well, that's just a hat I thought I'd wear today
Oh,
because
okay.
Harry's the one won the Second World War, you know. He had a lot of helpers.
He had a few
I've got to
helpers.
say that Harry had a lot of good helpers.
Right.
But Harry Truman made the decision that saved my life, saved your life, and let us live the life that we live today.
Right.
And Tom Burkall, is that how you pronounce his name?
Brokaw.
Yeah, that's a great program.
It is a
that he
wonderful
is
program.
just lovely, and he did a wonderful job, and he talked about a lot of wonderful people.
We
the
might
Second
say
World
for
War people.
the tape, Tom Brokaw is a news anchor person. He broadcasts the news on NBC.
Yes.
And he wrote a book that was The Greatest Generation. It was
Greatest
about
Americans
the-
or Generation or
Right.
something like that, yes.
Now, you were on the Intrepid.
Yes, sir.
What did you do on the Intrepid?
Well, as a construction mechanic, we worked on the airplanes. I was on board
Oh, I see.
with my squadron, which was Carrier Airborne Early Warning Squadron 12, VC-12 shortening. And the first time I ever saw an aircraft carrier was about the size of my thumb. The greatest experience that I never want to do again, I don't think, was landing on an aircraft carrier. We left Norfolk, Virginia. Our ship had already left, and we picked it up out at sea with the airplanes. And the pilot, when we were flying out there, he said, well, there's our home for the next 6 or 8 months. And he's flying kind of steady, you know. And I said, where's that? He said, well, right down there. And he flipped the airplane upside down so I could see it. And I said, I don't like that at all. I didn't get sick, but I was ready, just about.
Ready to get sick.
Right. So coming in on the aircraft carrier.
But he landed on this aircraft
Oh, yes,
carrier.
he
He
landed.
took you to your home. He landed on this aircraft carrier.
Right, we came in.
What was that like, landing on an aircraft?
Probably 145 miles an hour landing speed. Of course, we're going into the wind. And we went from 145 or 50 miles an hour to nothing in about 3 seconds. As you can imagine the joke.
Then you got sick, didn't
Then I was ready to get out of that thing.
you? Okay.
That was a great experience.
What happened to you then on the
But we
Intrepid?
just did the normal routine maintenance on my part, involved everything except the engine repairs and the electronic repairs on the aircraft carrier. We took care of all the structural part, the fuels, the landing gears, the tail hooks, and everything that kind of took you off the airplane.
What kind of planes did you have?
Pardon me?
What kind of planes did you have?
It was an AD-5W. Had just a 3-person type situation. We called it the Guppy, because on the bottom of it had a big radar dome on it, and we had a pilot and a crew member up front, and had a radar operator in the back. And what we did, we provided surveillance for the fleet. My particular squadron did. We were out, and we had one on every perimeter, just about 24 hours a day.
I see.
And then you come back, and then it would be relieved.
So did you make port in various places in the Mediterranean?
Yes,
and that sort of
yes.
thing? Where did you go?
In Spain, France, North Africa, down in Greece,
I see.
over into Italy, a couple,
Did
three
the
places.
people, where you made port, and did you take liberty then, go into town?
Yes, yes.
How did the people treat you?
Well, we were treated very well. We were given certain precautions when we left the ship to
Okay.
not go in certain areas of the city, or not go here or not go there. And one evening, myself and some other guys encountered a bunch of people that was standing in the square in Naples, Italy. And they were, of course, talking in their language, and we did not understand them, or I didn't. And all of a sudden, the fellow was on the podium. He started pointing at us, and everybody was looking around and pointing at us, so we kind of assumed that they were talking about us,
I
not
see.
knowing what they were saying, and we thought that maybe we ought to get out of there, so we got out of the area, and what it was a bunch of communists were having a rally down there, and of course they were talking about us Americans, the people that should not be there or should not be anywhere as far as the communists were concerned. So really didn't get concerned, but I still recall the incident, you know what I mean?
Kind of tense there for a moment.
Yes, it
then.
was.
Okay.
The Russians were really very prominent in the Mediterranean. They had ships there, they had submarines there, and I suppose we were always chasing each other around, trying to see what's happening, you know what I mean?
Okay. Did you have any close calls with their ships or anything?
All close encounters, yes, you know what I mean? No exchange of gunfire, nothing, no, sir. Just where someone would not yield the right of way that they should be, or being the bully on the block, or whatever you want to call it, you know, so.
Now, were you married at that time?
No, it was
You
not.
were single then?
Yes, it was.
Tell me, Jim, what does a single sailor do when he gets liberty?
He just goes out and relaxes.
Oh, he relaxes. Huh?
Yes, sir, he
Do you have
does.
any tattoos you want to talk
No,
about?
sir, I almost got a tattoo one time, but it chickened out.
Okay. Now, did you bring back any souvenirs from all these places you were at over there?
All brought some stuff back from my mother, my father,
Okay.
my brother and sister, things, little mementos, you know.
Okay.
And my mother was a great collector of little shoes and little porcelain shoes, and I brought her one back from Italy where my uncle Woodrow Lyons, he'd sent her one when he was in the Second World War to Italy, and I brought her one similar to it and all that. Most of them just little knickknacks. Didn't have any room to carry anything. You know, the sea bag, that's all we had, and on board a ship, we had no storage room. We had a little bunk that was about 6 feet long and about 2 feet wide, and with a space of about 14, 16 inches between the other ones. So we really didn't have much room.
How many people on the Intrepid?
If memory serves me right, there was right at about 5,000 people, counting what they call the ship's company and the air group.
Small city.
Yes, it is. Big size of New Boston.
Do you keep in contact with any of these people that
Well,
you served with?
Most recently, yes. The ship and the squadron I was in has been having some reunions right along, but I learned of them a couple of years ago, and I
Okay.
communicate with some people
Good.
down in Louisville, Kentucky. And Jane and I, last year, went up to Newport, Rhode Island, where we participated in a reunion up there. Renewed some acquaintanceships, people we hadn't seen for 30 years, you know.
Have you been back to any of these places you went to when you were in the service?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you and Jane go back?
Well, Jane did last year. When, in 1960, I got out of the Navy in 1957. And in 1960, I joined the Naval Reserve Program,
Okay.
and here in Portsmouth. And I was married then, and I went, you know, every year we'd go somewhere for a couple of weeks, something like that. 1967, I believe it was. I went back on active duty for 2 years and was recruiting for the Naval Reserve Program and the regular Navy. Was on active duty for 2 years then, here at the Portsmouth Naval Reserve Center. So enlisted about 400 or 500 people during that
Okay.
2-year time period. And there again, the draft over on this side was helping the Navy
Kind of
out on this
motivated
side.
to
You know what
help
I
the
mean?
Navy.
We loved the Army, because
Oh,
they was
you love
always
the
pushing
Army.
people over in our direction.
You love the Army because guys are trying to get away from it.
That's right.
Well, did you like the service?
Oh, yes, it did. It was lonesome. When I was young, everybody's homesick. I'm sure everybody is. Get a little lonesome every now and then. But once I was married, I just fine. You know what I mean?
Did the military change in any way?
Quite a bit, yes,
What
sir.
way?
Just what I think was a more lax environment, a better environment. Admiral Zumwalt came along, and he certainly made conditions better for the sailor.
I see.
He relaxed some of the regulations a little bit that kind of caused some of the old-timers problems. The beards and the mustaches and things like
I
that.
see.
You know, a lot of them old-timers didn't like it, and because that's what the younger people wanted to do.
Well, even the old timers before them had beards,
I
though.
know, yeah. The old-timers did,
The old
yes.
timers. Jim, is there anything you'd like to say to anybody watching this, any of your great-great-great-grandsons and daughters watching this 100 years from now?
Well, other than, you know, I had a good time, and I hope you have a good time.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you,
Thanks
John.
for everything you did.
I'm sorry I didn't get here earlier.
Oh, that's all right.
We had to make the cornbread
You
and
had
soup
to,
things.
well, you had to do something important.
Thank you.
Thank you.